taken me a long time, Kimball.
Not long enough.
I came to check on your condition. As soon as you're well enough, you'll be extradited to Indiana. I'm taking you back to Stafford myself.
You're going to strap me on the fender of your car?
The Fugitive. A QM production. Starring David Jansen as Dr. Richard Kimball, an innocent victim of blind justice, falsely convicted for the murder of his wife. Reprieved by fate when a train wreck freed him en route to the death house. Freed him to hide in lonely desperation, to change his identity, to toil at many jobs. Freed him to search for a one-armed man he saw leave the scene of the crime. Freed him to run before the relentless pursuit of the police lieutenant obsessed with his capture.
The guest stars in tonight's story, Telly Savalas, Carol Rawson, Norman Fell, also starring Barry Morse as Lieutenant Philip Gerard. Tonight's episode, May God Have Mercy, brought to you by...
A man on the run assumes many identities, each one reflecting in some way the life he has left behind. Thus, Dr. Richard Kimball, now known as Harry Reynolds, works as an orderly in a Michigan hospital. Once a respected pediatrician, he finds a hint of security in the familiar hospital routine. For no man, not even a convicted murderer, can completely abandon his past, nor can his past abandon him.
Reynolds, where's Toby? Playing with the girls next to her again.
I haven't seen him.
Sent him down to the lab a good half hour ago. Find him, will you? I need the lab reports on Leonetti.
Who?
Leonetti in 307. Well, go on. It's getting late.
Well, I get up at midnight. Why don't you meet me in the parking lot and we'll...
Yeah? The nurse would like the lab reports.
Hey, anything will you cover for me, Pops? Tell her the doctor couldn't operate without me, huh?
months. That's all, huh? 10 lousy months.
Maybe a year. Believe me, Victor, if there was anything.
I'm a healthy man, Doctor. Look at me. I'm strong like a bull. Those tests could be wrong, you know. You could be wrong, too.
Frequently. But not this time.
You doctors. All so smart. What right have you got to sentence a man to death, huh? And what am I supposed to do? Lay down and die? Just because you said so?
You insisted on knowing the truth, Victor.
Listen. Do me a favor, will you? Don't tell my wife about this.
She knows we've been running tests.
I told her it was for an ulcer.
I think she should know.
What for? She gonna make me better?
Victor, you're not being fair to yourself. You're going to need Anne's help.
Listen, Doctor. 4 years ago, it was our little daughter, Jeannie. She needed that big heart operation, you know? And now this business with me. Well, I just don't want Anne to know if anything's gonna happen to me.
All right, Victor. I won't say anything until I have to. You can tell Anne you have no ulcers. She can take you home tonight.
Nice work, Fink. Telling old horseface I was goofing off an X-ray.
Well, I don't care what the inspector said. The zoning commission approved every house on that tract. All right, leave it on my desk and I'll take care of it tonight. Is that you out there, Anne?
Hello, darling. Congratulations. Now, Elsie. Aren't you pleased?
Sure. Sure, I'm pleased. Oh, the building inspector's given us a few problems. I'm going to go down to the office tonight.
Oh, well, can't that wait till tomorrow?
Tomorrow. How many tomorrows does a guy have? Well, I better take care of it now.
Darling, are you sure it's just the building inspectors that's bothering you?
I wasted 2 days here.
Victor, I saw him too.
Who?
Dr. Kimball.
What are you talking about?
Haven't you seen him?
You mean you saw him here in this hospital?
Oh, well, darling, now that must have been my imagination.
Show me where he is.
Victor, wait.
Like a buzzard, that Kimball, a vulture. Every time somebody dies, poof, there's Kimball.
Victor, stop it, please.
First Jeannie, and then his wife, and now... You go on home, Ann. I'll take a cab when I get finished at the office.
Promise me you won't call the police. Please, Victor.
He's a murderer, isn't he?
You know better than that. You were at the trial. You heard him testify. Darling, back in Stafford, everyone who really knew him felt he was innocent.
His wife knew him, and she's dead. And Jeannie knew him, and she's dead, too. And why? Because he was out of town, on vacation, instead of being there with her. Operator, I want the police.
Dr. Kimball.
If you want a doctor...
Now, don't play games. You don't have the time. Anne Leonetti, do you remember?
You're a long way from home.
Yes, well, my husband and I left Stafford about a year ago. Victor's developing some real estate here. He knows you're here, Doctor. And I'm sure he's called the police by now. You'd better hurry.
He still blames me for Jeannie's death.
Yes.
And you don't?
I never did.
Thank you.
Go out emergency or whatever, and I'll drive around. Doctor?
Yeah, that's our boy, all right. He calls himself Harry Reynolds, spelled F-I-N-K. I had him figured out right from the start.
Not a sign of him. He was here in the ward just a few minutes ago.
Call headquarters, Joe. Tell them to drop a net over this area.
Victor's overcoat's in the back seat. You'd better wear it to hide those whites.
All right. You let me off at the next signal.
Bus depot's just a few blocks from here.
Look, Hen, they can hold you for 80.
If I'd kept quiet, you wouldn't be in this mess. Victor never would have seen you. You know why he hates you? I mean, the real reason.
Yes. He blames me for Jeannie's death.
No. Nobody could have saved her. I know that. And Victor knows that, too. But once he stops blaming you for Jeannie's death, he'll have to blame himself.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for this.
Don't thank me, Doctor. Forgive me. And my husband, too.
When Jeannie had that fatal attack, I was in New York. I went there to see George Fogarty. He's one of the leading cardiac specialists.
Not Jeannie?
He was the only man I knew that could save her. I had persuaded him to come to Stafford, but by that time...
Did that for us. Why didn't you tell us? We had no idea.
Jeannie was gone. All the good intentions in the world. Stay out of Let's get out of here. Don't get mixed up in it.
There he is. Kimball! Hold it, Kimball! We'll shoot!
What's the matter?
Congratulations. Police just shot Kimball.
They shot him.
Did you finally get what you wanted, Victor?
All of a sudden, everything's my fault, huh? The man's a killer, so they shot him. He got everything he deserves.
Now, how would you know what he deserves? Who are you to pass judgment on him? You who've created nothing but overpriced, undersized houses, instant slums, suddenly your moral sense is so outraged.
They gave us a good living, those houses. Uh-oh. And our life could have been so perfect.
Still can be perfect, Victor. You just let yourself forget. Could have had more children. We still can.
We'd still have our little Jeannie if your friend Kimball would...
Stop it, Victor. He told us she needed open heart surgery. He recommended one surgeon after another. But you didn't trust his judgment, and that's why she died, Vic!
All right, man, don't.
The man you hated so much, Victor, was in New York when Jeannie had her last attack. Did you know that? He went there with his own money, on his own time, to get a heart specialist for our daughter. The best man in the country. One surgeon that even you would have to accept.
Who told you?
He did.
What'd you expect? He'd use any excuse.
Operator? I'd like to place a call to New York City. Dr. George Fogarty. No, I'm, sorry, you'll have to look up the number. Thank you.
Lieutenant, can you toss a few crumbs to the reporters?
He's the lieutenant, boys. How about some pictures, Lieutenant?
Settle down. Sure, Kimball. Now, this is a hospital, not a press club. First of all, his condition. The doctor says the bullet tore some tendons in his shoulder, severed some blood vessels. He's lost a lot of blood, and he's still in shock. Right now, they're just trying to keep him alive. He faces a death sentence in Indiana, which is a lot tougher to beat than a gunshot wound. I've been in touch with the Indiana police. If Kimball survives, we'll arrange to have him extradited. Now, we're running a check on his fingerprints for final identification.
Yes, this is Lieutenant Gerard. Now, just a minute. We've had false alarms before. Are they sure it's Kimball? I'm not about to go running off to Michigan on some wild... All right. Let me know as soon as they have the final word on his ID.
They've actually got him in custody?
I've actually got somebody in custody. I should make sure of who before they blast me out of bed. Call the airport, will you, dear? Give me a reservation on the earliest plane to Selby.
How do you feel this morning?
I don't think I'm ready for the Olympics, but I'll make it.
Welcome back, killer. You think you can crawl through those bars? Bars on the windows, bars on the doors. A big hunk of fuzz with a gun on his hip out there? Cool it, man. You're here for keeps.
I hope you're not.
Hey, I'm your favorite ward boy. I got lonesome down there, so I asked for this job. This little nurse, she needs my kind of company. You know what I mean?
What happened to your little friend in X-ray?
Gloria? Yeah, she's been asking about you since she heard you're a wife killer. Ain't that a kick?
Well, tell her not to be too impatient. Yeah, they'll be taking me down to X-ray pretty soon.
Oh, sorry. No X-rays ordered.
Toby, take care of the dirty laundry.
How do you like that? She loves me.
Someone taking care of you?
You're the man in charge?
I'm Lieutenant Survey.
Could I talk to you, please?
Well, I'm kind of busy. Maybe one of these other
No, please.
officers.
It's important. I've been walking the streets all night thinking about it.
Okay, right in here. Well, what's on your mind?
I want to confess to a crime. Murder.
Get a stenographer and a tape recorder and bring him in here. You're a murderer, huh? Who's your victim?
Dr. Kimball's wife. You didn't kill her. I did.
The fugitive will continue following station identification.
Did you send a car to the airport to pick up Lieutenant Gerard? Flight 12. Right. Fine. Yeah. Oh. Send her right in.
Lieutenant, this is Leonetti.
Sit down, Miss Lane.
I'd like to see my husband, please.
Sorry, he refuses to see anyone.
Yes, but I'm his wife. I have a right to see him.
Well, he has his rights, too. If he doesn't want to see anybody.
That confession that he made, you don't believe that, do you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Afraid I do.
That's nonsense. He couldn't possibly have killed Helen Kimball.
Why not?
Oh, well, I was with him at home that night.
Was anyone with you? Did anyone see you together?
No, but I,
Mrs. Leonetti, I examine your husband's story every way I know. He's familiar with every detail of that killing. Now, the only one who could possibly tell us more would be the victim herself. Zermatt. Oh, fine, I'll be right out. Lieutenant Gerard, I'm Zermatt.
Well, how do you do, Lieutenant?
Come in.
Thank you. Now, tell me, are you certain this man you're holding is Kimball?
Yes, it's Kimball. I'm afraid I have a little surprise for you.
Toby, please get the lunch trays ready. I'm going to take the CPRs.
You sure to bothering you?
Where exactly does it hurt you?
The anterior portion of the clavicle.
You were a doctor, weren't you?
My daughter was dead, and Kimball was alive. And that's all I could think about all the way over to the Kimball's house. I went around to the back, and I could hear them arguing. Kimball and his wife. Well, after a while, the doctor came out, and he drove away. He was still mad, I could tell.
How could you see him? Was the porch light on?
There's no porch in that house.
All right. Go on.
Well, I saw Helen was alone in there.
Helen?
Mrs. Kimball.
You knew her that well?
Yeah, we used to play bridge with them. And I'm a contractor. I'm the one who built their house. Well, anyway, I knew Helen was in there. And I started to think, why murder Kimball? Death is no punishment. The real punishment is grief. And if Helen were murdered, he'd really have something to grieve about. Anyway, I guess I was pretty upset.
How'd you get into the house?
The back door.
It was locked.
Yeah, well, I knocked on the door a few times. Helen heard me. Let me in.
How was she dressed?
She had on what do you call it, a cocktail dress.
She was wearing a house coat.
A cocktail dress. Light in color and sort of bluish gray.
Try again, Leonetti.
Bluish gray. Dress had a cloth belt. And I used that belt to strangle her.
All right. So you strangled her, left her on the sofa.
No. She was on the floor.
With the belt still around her neck?
I tossed it aside on the floor someplace, and I got out of there.
I know. The back door was left open.
I used the front door. I might have left it open, though.
Where'd you go from there?
I started across the front lawn and... Oh, yeah. There was a man standing there.
Man?
Yeah. I guess he heard the noise in the house and stopped to take a look. Anyway, he saw me and he took off like a jackrabbit.
This, man, was he a stranger? Would you know him if you saw him again?
I don't know. What I remember about him was his empty sleeve. Coat sleeve. It looked to me like he had one arm.
Quite a bit of swelling. The wound looks clean, though. Must be some bone fragments in there after all. Any x-rays taken last night?
No.
Better get him downstairs for some pictures. We'll locate those bone chips and remove them, Kimball. Nothing to be concerned about.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're pretty busy in x-ray, but I'll try to get you down there as soon as possible. There, that's your doctor.
Are you always this considerate of criminals?
Funny. I never thought of you as one.
It's taken me a long time, Kimball.
Not long enough.
came to check on your condition. As soon as you're well enough, you will be extradited to Indiana. I'm taking you back to Stafford myself.
You're going to strap me on the fender of your car?
Meantime, I'd like to ask you some questions. About Victor Leonetti. How well do you know him?
His child was my patient.
He blames you for her death.
Have I been convicted of that one, too?
In a way. Leonetti is the noble citizen who turned you in. A man who do a thing like that would be capable of anything. Even murder. What do you think? Is he capable of murder?
I am in no mood for a psychiatric.
He claims he is. In fact, he claims he murdered your wife.
Leonetti killed Helen.
Oh, his confession's a work of art. Must have done a lot of research. Even found room for your one-armed man.
Why would he kill Helen?
His way of punishing you. Of course, his wife claims his story is false, but she can't explain why he told it.
What's his reason?
Delayed conscience. Of course, he may be one of those cranks who dabbles in self-destruction. Either way, his confession may clear you. How does that strike your conscience?
What am I supposed to do? Insist that I'm the guilty one?
Do you believe he's a murderer? Well, neither do I.
Well, looks like you're gonna get that X-ray after all.
Doctor?
Doctor, dig that.
How are you feeling?
All right. Gerard arranged to pass for you.
My request?
Well, I know what he wants. He wants me to announce to the world that Victor is innocent and that I'm the murderer. Is that what you want, too?
I want to help my husband.
Yesterday, you wanted to help me.
But only because I was trying to keep my husband from making a terrible mistake. I'm still trying.
You're not sure he's innocent?
I know he didn't kill Helen.
Well, neither did I, and you can't expect me to...
I don't expect anything, Doctor. But I'll be honest with you. If I could force you to say that you were guilty, I think I'd do it. If I could bribe or threaten or frighten you, I'd do it. I cannot let my husband throw his life away.
Life doesn't seem to mean much to him.
Yes, well, maybe I'm partly responsible for that.
And don't you know why he's in this hospital?
Well, he thought he had some ulcers. They were running some tests.
Ulcers, who told you that?
Victor did. The tests were negative.
Well, then you haven't spoken to Dr. Becker.
Well, no, why should I? What difference would that make?
Sorry to break in on you, but we have to get you down to X-ray, Dr. Kimball.
Yes, could we wait?
Yeah,
for
just
one
one
No, I'm
moment.
sorry, we don't have any time. Toby, will you help me, please?
Ann, see Dr. Becker. Tell him you want the truth.
Come on, Doc. It's traveling time. Hold it, Mac. We're coming through.
Sort of bluish gray. Try again, Leonetti. Bluish gray.
Oh, I can't buy it. I just can't buy it.
Can't or won't. You know, we can't hold Leonetti much longer unless we file charges.
Kimball's been tried and convicted. In the eyes of the law, he's the guilty man.
The eyes of the law. Leonetti just poked a finger in the clear blue eyes of the law.
All yours, Toby. Will you tell him the doctor wants the place developed and dried right away?
You bet. I'll wait for him.
Will you help him back, please?
So near and yet so far. Huh, killer?
On your feet. Come on. Onto the table. Toby, I left some film in there rinsing. Would you take it out, please?
Right.
Hey, congratulations.
What?
You and Toby, you told me.
What are you talking about?
Oh, never mind.
Thank you, Toby. I have a right to know the truth. Dr. Becker was on there.
Truth. It's great stuff, isn't it? Knowing about the truth.
Now listen to me.
Like picking up a rock and seeing everything you don't want to see. Jeannie dying by inches. Kimball dying in the electric chair. And big shot Victor Leonetti, never sick a day in his life, and dying because he deserves to die. You said it yourself. Jeannie died because of me? Well, you're right, she did. And Kimball in custody because of me.
Is that why you made the false confession? To punish yourself?
Well, what do you mean, false confession?
To undo what you did to Dr. Kimball.
That's hero stuff, and I'm no hero.
You think that's heroic? A man who do something like that is only selfish. Don't you understand, Victor? You've got an advantage that hardly anyone else gets.
Advantage. 10 months to live and you call that an advantage?
I call that a blessing. A gift. You know how many people have less time than you have, and they are not lucky enough to know it. But you know. And you know that you cannot waste any time. You have to make every single minute count. And that's 10 months. And those 10 months are our lifetime. Our happiness. We don't have anything left. Please, Victor. Please don't throw it away.
Tell that lieutenant that I want to see him. You tell him to hurry up because my time is valuable.
The doc wants him developed right away, Del. We'll wait for him.
I need some help, Toby.
Stay put, killer.
What have you been saying about me?
What?
I'll talk to you later after you take him back to his room.
right about Leonetti.
And Kimball.
We have to take one of Toby.
Don't scream. Don't scream.
What are you doing? He grabbed me. He might have killed me. What's happening in here? Look what he did.
They should be finished with the x-rays by now.
Kimball, he's gone.
What's going on? There's a prisoner escaped. Man with an injured shoulder, dressed in hospital whites.
I ain't seen him. I sure hope I don't.
Lieutenant, I'd like to thank you.
Thank me.
Yes, for letting me see Dr. Kimball. Well, it changed a lot of things for us.
Listen, I want to make sure that Kimball gets a good lawyer. We'll pay all the legal expenses, all of them.
Yes, well, I'll tell him. When I find him.
The death sentence comes in many forms, affecting each man in a different way. For some, it means an end to pain. For others, it becomes a challenge to live. For Richard Kimball, the challenge is repeated with every new turn of the road.
The Fugitive has been brought to you by